Hello, everyone on the internet. Thanks for tuning in.
And welcome to another episode with me, Master Bushido, and my Toku Bro on the other side. It's Flayvaman!
Yo, he for me, it's a ja 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 jam.
When I normally ask you to do something different, I honestly thought it would be finishers or something. I did not imagine it would be the literally.
You always give me stick for this. Just roll with it.
The, just the ending. The ending
Well
for
done. Well
Ninja!
done.
Anyway, while I'm being mud, you can lead.
Right, so we have just literally seen the finale for Shuriken Sentai Ninninger.
And
And
while I'm
you
still
know, I
scarred,
think for the whole year, this has literally divided the Sentai fan base.
just
Some
before
people
that,
like it,
just
some
before,
people hate it. What?
just before that, if you want to do the parts about what the hell we do about Toku Talk.
Oh well, we do series review as well as current news. Obviously, for this episode, as established, we are reviewing the recently finished series of Shuriken Sentai Ninninger.
Yeah.
We talk about various aspects, what we like, what we don't like, and sort of things that either we might have missed, like from out of each other, like if one of us has missed something, or just sort of general themes and general discussion of the series in focus, which again, for the millionth time, is Ninja.
So also what people, just for the viewers' benefit as well, we will also be doing an independent, Toku review for Ninja as well.
Well, that's what we're doing now.
Oh, I thought we were going to do an independent one.
Yeah, we are reviewing Shuriken Sentai Ninninger.
Ah, I thought this was Toku Talk as well.
You're a nutter. No, we are reviewing Shuriken Sentai Ninninger.
Should we
I
restart
don't know
that?
what planet you're on.
Okay, should we restart that?
No.
Okay, cool.
Right, Jesus, man. I
Okay.
wish you were on this planet. So, Shuriken Sentai Ninninger.
Right.
This has divided the Sentai fan base for the whole year. Some people have liked it, some people have hated it, some people have started liking it, then hating it, some people have hated it from the off and then dropped off. Again, myself, I considered this a very mixed series. There was good points, there were bad points.
Agreed.
There were rubbish fillers, and then just when you think it's rubbish, it gets good. And when they've had like a good streak, they kind of throw in a really rubbish arc.
Right.
So that's my opinion in a nutshell before we talk about the aspects of this series.
Right. Let me start off with the build-up. Like normally we talk about build-ups and stuff. Yeah, because when I first heard that it was going to be about, it's a third-gen ninja series, I was like, really? And then when I heard it's about like the name Shuriken Sentai Ninninger, I was like, really? Just the title alone was like very, because you've got Ninpu Sentai Hurricaneja. Then prior to that, you've got Ninja Sentai Kakuranger. Yeah. So those names work, Hurricaneja, Kakuranger, but Ninja is just like lazy.
I do remember really hating the name this time last year, but I think it's not like I really like the name now. It's like I went from really hating it to just rolling with it. So I've rolled with it. But
I mean, just build up wise. I mean, when I also
I do remember the rumors because I remember originally hearing this was meant to be our Jetman 2.0, and it's like okay.
No,
then I'm not sure whether that was a Jukemon 22 job or not though.
I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, but then obviously when it was revealed, okay, we're getting our third Ninja series. Because I was trying to work it out, because I'm pretty sure it's not. I think it's a little over 10 years. Bearing in mind, we had the Hurricaneja 10-year special a while back, and then this was, like during this year they did release the Deca Ranger 10 years after. Which technically they had Aberrange in between, which they didn't do a 10-year after special for. But again, I remember seeing the reveals of the suits, and it's like I just kind of felt it was weird that they had like 4-point different styles of 4-point shurikens on their face, but the top quarter, if you will, was like shaded silver,
Yeah.
and the rest was like a visor with a drop down.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't quite like that, but I did, like I'm pretty sure we did talk about this in Toku Talk last year. Like, I actually liked the sash. I thought, it was quite a quirky design. Like when it came to the colours were plain, the colours were actually quite bold.
Bold.
Things like the gloves and that, I actually liked.
This is where I'm gonna. Right, in regards to the alpha as a build-up and when you first see it as the first scans and whatever, I actually didn't mind it and such. And just for the benefit of the doubt, if we're talking about first scans and whatever, Jyuohger should take ideas from this because Ninninja's so bold and such, whereas Jyuohger's so plain.
Right, I mean, I think you kind of miss. Well, I mean, again, you're making a different point, which is fair enough. But what I think, I mean, you're talking about the next series coming along, Jyuohger. Their colours are still quite bold, but then they're blue
No. I'm talking like as though someone just took a Sharpie and just drew.
Oh yeah, but you're talking about the pattern that's on the chest. I mean, again, with Ninja, they had no pattern on the actual, spandex itself.
Sorry, let me reword it. They had layers. They had layers, is what I'm
actually, yeah. Ninja did have, it was somewhat layered, and I think it had it had a good finish to it. Like again, apart from the helmet design, which I felt, again, I was a bit meh on it, but the rest of it, neck down, was actually pretty swish.
No, but
and then
no. Okay, what was your first opinion on the mech scans? Or I can save the mech. I was going to save my opinion for when we get to the mechs.
I mean, because for this year and last year, they've actually been quite early with the mech reveals, and again, you'll remember this time last year, I was still trying to wrap my head around a mecha on top of the mecha controlling the Gatai mecha. That took me a while to. I think I had to see it to actually understand. Right, so it's a little. It's the Shinobi Maru. It's the Shinobi Maru controlling the Gatai mecha, the Shuriken. And again, just because when I first looked at the reveals, I was like, it just looked like a sort of really busy mecha. You could tell, the fact that they were going with different themes of mecha. You've got a train, you've got a dog, you've got the shinobi, you've got the dragon. I was like, oh, this could be interesting. But, to sort of put it in a nutshell, where we will talk about the mecha in depth a little later, it just became irrelevant. No one really cared after a while.
Right, I'm gonna save my opinion on the mechs when we get to the mechs, because you know how I am for mechs.
Alright, so what did you feel about the first few episodes of Ninja, once it kicked off?
See, that's the problem. I don't really remember that early days, really, because there's so much going on. And I'll be honest, I don't really remember that far back, really.
This is kind of funny
normally you'd have the first episode, which will be a high impacting, like a first impression kind of thing. But then if it was if I don't remember, it must have been ugh. Because I unfortunately don't.
Well, this is kind of the thing, because I do feel this series, even though they did have a bit of a sort of run-up to the whole Last Ninja storyline, you do, I think quite a lot of people have actually criticised the lack of sort of the family bond, say, compared to Magi Ranger.
Agreed.
But yeah, you agree, but I'm kind of like, well, I'm kind of giving them a bit of slack. I'm like, you know what? I think they do all right as cousins. They do. They're not necessarily as close as brother sister or brothers and sisters and siblings. But then, I think a lot of people have been quite critical. A lot of criticism about how they might as well have been a bunch of strangers. Well, I'm like, well, actually, I do actually see the middle ground. So they're not as close as Magi Ranger, but all the other series where they're not brothers and sisters, I kind of think there's a little sort of special sort of twinkle in their bond, and I do, yeah, and especially sort of leading up to the final episodes, I think that bond. I actually enjoyed watching that bond grow stronger. But again, I think I might be alone on that one.
I see. Okay, what I will say is you have your opinion, fair enough. But
Because
then,
like
no,
again,
hang on a minute. But then, in regards to the whole bond and such, I feel because they weren't all siblings, they were like cousins, and two
you
of
had
which
two.
were siblings. Yes. On one hand, it was unique. It was different. So you can almost per se do whatever you'd like. But on another hand, you still kind of need to create that bondship, almost like a family, trying to reach a bar towards Magi Ranger. Not specifically Magi Ranger, but like that high, if that makes sense. So it's...
Well, because I mean, again, the point I'll make now is, the one thing that I really liked is, I mean, we're talking about these first episodes, and I don't think, again, I kind of think they kind of fizzled this out for some odd reason, but that rivalry between Our Ninja and Aka Ninja, like, that's why I felt this was like a good sort of, not quite Magic Ranger, but better than them being complete strangers.
almost
They were
like
already
a
somewhat familiar with each other, and
almost
then
like a
just
Hoji
bam, Our
Bamban
Ninja and
from
Aka
Deca
Ninja
Ranger
go
style.
into a rivalry to become this last ninja.
Almost like
Uh,
a Hoji Bamban from Deca Ranger style.
but this is it. I'd say it was. Well, no, that's it. They weren't rivals. If you're talking about Deca Ranger, Ban wanted to be partners, friends with
Hoji.
Deca Blue, but Deca Blue didn't want anything to do with Deca Red. Whereas this is the opposite. This is like, they've all got a goal. They've all got an aim to be the last ninja, and then just immediately from the off, Aka Ninja and Our Ninja just go at it, against each other. And this is it. Again, I'm really disappointed in how they didn't really develop that. I mean, all right, sure, they did this. They did the cliche thing of them. They're all become friends in the end, and they all work together. Which, that takes care of the moral of the story about, like especially the whole they were better together as six. So I could kind of see where they were going with this story, but in those early episodes, it was, I genuinely felt it was more interesting with the five competing against each other. But instead, they then they went in the direction of cliche, trying to teach the kids a moral. Which, again, if we're not the target, like, I reckon it would still been a better story if they'd have stuck with the whole rivalry thing and made, like, again, because it seemed like they were supposed to be rivals. Aka and Ao were definitely going at it. And then sort of, Key Ninja would like pipe up at some point. Momo Ninja's like, oh, why does it have to be a boy kind of thing. And I think that was the feels that I got from the first episodes, which was then later betrayed by being all sort of lovey-dovey. And I think again we'll talk about the characters in depth in a moment. So, how did you feel about at least the first half of the series? Like, even like leading up to Star Ninja.
Right. First off, I will say that the Monsters of the Week was very for me, honestly. I mean, the henchmen were I mean, we'll get to that in the villain side, but in regards...
I really like the henchmen. Alright, yeah, we will.
No, but I mean, just as a whole in general, I was like... It took me a good bit to get into it. I mean, if anything, the mechs were more interesting than the story. I mean, I was trying to wait for something interesting to happen, then Star Ninja comes in, which is good. Yeah, sure, it took me a bit to try and get used to, because it was a real pain in the ass, but we'll get to that in characters. But, the whole mech system and everything, it went to a bit of a new level, I say a little bit. And, it took me a bit to go, and then something with the story built on with Kiemon, but we'll get to that. And
sure. So let's talk. Alright, so let's get straight on with talking about the heroes.
Right.
I will start off by talking about Takaharu, Aka Ninja. I loved his character. I think I wouldn't call him 100% original, but the fact that he's got a bit of the guy, like Toku Ichigo, he's got a bit of Deca Red, he's got a bit of, and he's even got a bit of the stronger Reds as well.
I feel like
and
I
they sort
see
of cobbled
Geki
him
Red
together. Yeah, a bit of Geki Red as well, I'll agree with that. I kind of felt like they picked out bits from different Reds, they cobbled him together, and he just becomes this massive idiot. I loved him. He was such, I loved his comedy. I loved sort of like his passion, his fiery attitude. It's, and again, I think a lot of, again, he did get a lot of criticism for his style of character, but
in what sense?
If anything, I almost feel like the Sentai fan base doesn't like originality. But this, it wasn't quite originality, but it's it's saying that the whole is better than the sum of its parts. I could see inspiration from different Reds, especially Toku Ichigo. I saw a lot of it.
I didn't.
But
how do you get Ichigo?
Because Ichigo was sort of like, he had because obviously where we did the Top Kyuja review last year, Toku Ichigo, he had that curiosity about him, which I do see in Takaharu. And as well, just playing a sort of general numbnut. Again, I felt it from, I felt it in Takaharu. And, I think, what I'll do, I'll cover his actual attire as well in this. Like, I like that sort of bomber jacket look, and I think also halfway through the series he changed his hairstyle. I kind of noticed that, and I kind of think it kind of defined him as a character. Like,
you mean maturity?
It kind of showed a sort of development in some way.
Okay, so not maturity, but growing up.
Yeah. What did you think of Takaharu?
Well, if we're doing it one by one by one.
Yeah, we'll do it one by one.
Okay. As a character on its own, there were times I felt he was a bit irritating with his, jokey, quirky, clowny self. Though, as a Red, I actually didn't mind him. That leadership role, I actually felt it was very.
I felt it was a good Red, like a good.
It was a good Red. It felt very. It's not Boken Red High, but it felt more like a. How can I say, Magi Red, sort of very.
Ooh. Okay.
No. It's sort of like, how can I word it? I don't want to say Red in training, but very with that morale. He gave that morale boost to everyone.
Yeah, he was a good carrier.
He was. Agree. I'll say that.
Outfit-wise,
his civvies.
Again, they didn't really have a uniform, but
change that.
We'll come on to the ninja uniform.
They did have uniforms.
Alright, we'll come on to the ninja uniform a little later. But alright, his
civvy, I couldn't give really two craps about it because honestly they only had their monocolored.
Again, I already commented, but yeah.
No, they just pretty much all had their own monocolored, whatever looky-likey kind of civvies. I mean, he had what, a bomber jacky thingy, bob with jeans, yeah. So.
Yeah, but he looked trendy. I thought he looked cool. I mean, if we roll on to our ninja, that is, I think his name was Yakumo, right, or Cloud. Yeah, we had this discussion in Topic Talk. He had a very pompous attitude, in my opinion. Very, I don't know. I don't want to start saying Deca Blue again, but no. Again, he had a bit of a pompous attitude. Again, at the beginning, I really liked his sort of really fearing wanting to, contest with Red, contest with Takaharu. And I didn't know. I had very mixed feelings about the fact that he was meant to have been taught at a Hogwarts-style school in England. I'm just like, I've spent the whole year sort of, conflicting myself with this. I mean, attire-wise, again, he had the whole magic thing going on. I actually thought that was pretty cool. Attire-wise, his attire, I kind of liked the smart. It looked smart.
It did, but I just felt sometimes it was too much with the very long, trenchy blue trench coat as well. I thought that was too much. And what's more, at times he'd wear a shirt with one of those Texan pins.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, you know how you have like a collar tie-up with that
Right.
you just go like that up?
Oh, I think I know. Anyway, so what did you think of him as a character?
At the early stages, I thought he was annoying as well because with his very mixed Japan English style, I just found it irritating. However, I found it unique. His character, it did become unique with when you realize that he uses magic mixed with the ninja as well. And I thought, okay, I could try to get used to this, anyways.
I mean, Key Ninja. I mean, he's quite understated. I
Well,
think that's
are we
deliberate.
jumping to Ninja?
Well, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, Key Ninja. Like again, I kind of felt he's understated for a reason. I liked how they played on that in the story. I mean, they vaguely played the fact that he was still a student in there. I mean, compared to Shiro Ninja, it wasn't that played up on him. I almost felt sorry for him in some places. I mean, and then his civvies, I actually couldn't care about.
Right,
But,
see, I'm gonna flip that. Believe it or not, I actually didn't mind his civvies, the slight Western style, even if it was very flamboyant. I actually think it worked with the leather guitar thing strapped around him and, guitar case and everything. I actually didn't mind it. His character
we're talking about
Kininja.
Yellow.
Kininja, yeah.
Who had
Oh, Kininja! I thought you said
No,
right, no, I thought you meant
Ninja.
right.
That's what I said,
Right.
Pay
Sorry.
attention.
Where's my coffee?
I was thinking he doesn't have a good. Yeah, I knew he was talking about Star Ninja.
Anyway, so let's try again. Right, Kininja, yellow. Because Kinji is... That's why I got confused. Anyway, I missed my coffee. With Kininja's outfit, I found it very... too much on the schoolboy aspect. I felt it was very hipster, if you will. At times, I felt it was with the cap backwards, with... If you get
he did have that. I do see where you're coming from now, alright.
Like... and if he was supposed to be a hipster, then he'll be a bit more of a rude boy, but he wasn't. That's why I just thought it was like, you give him something that it wasn't. What's the point? And then, his character, I felt he was very pushed to one side kind of thing. I felt he was like the Gokai Green. Like he was very sidelined, if that makes sense.
I could see the Gokai Green comparison, but I wouldn't naturally compare him to Gokai. I could see the comparison. I just wouldn't do that myself personally.
No, it's very sidelined though. That's the thing. Like,
but this
his
is it.
character.
But this is it. You're bringing Gokai Green into this. Like they did a lot with Gokai Green. I like what they did in Gokaija, and they could have done more, but it was a very packed series as it was. Whereas Key Ninja, whatever the hell his name was, because I'm not going to remember, they could have done more with it, but I can't see what they could have done more with, and frankly, I didn't care. But, but what they did do with him, the whole, he's helpful, the helpful ninja as he became.
Yeah, I got that.
I'm like, I just couldn't care.
I mean, here's the problem. Like you mentioned, the helpful ninja, yeah, okay, fine, he helps at the end, but it's just... I felt like he was a character, whereas going back to Gokai Green, Gokai Green was more like a character with potential. But Kininja was just, hi, I'm here. Like, I know that I might be really shitting on that character, but that's what I felt. Like, very sidelined.
To be fair, I felt it was deliberate, though.
I
think it was deliberate on the writer's side, I reckon. Because, you had all those scenes with the granddad sort of talking to him about being that helpful guy. But going on to Shiro Ninja, now she was someone that they definitely played the whole kawaii schoolgirl thing.
Not just that. No. Okay, so Fuka.
Yeah.
Fuka. I call it Huka, though. It has to be Huka. First off, she's the younger sister to Aka Ninja, Takaharu, and Right. First off,
I
love
him.
the chemistry. I love the chemistry between the brother sister whole thing. I think they made a very good sibling.
That's it. 'Cause again, they really played. That she acted like the more mature one. That's quite funny.
At the same time,
they had a lot of gags.
No. But at the same time, they showed that vulnerability as well. That she is the younger sister as well. That she needed help at times from her elderly brother, which I loved as well.
That's a bit corny in my opinion. I didn't really focus on that person.
No, but I think it shows a good, corny, maybe, yeah, cliche, yeah, maybe, but still, that family bond, if you will, between the two characters, and it strengthens that, and I love it. I mean, forgive me, but I'm an elderly brother myself, so I know the actual, that kind of thing, anyways.
But going on to
1 second, but no, hang on a minute. But in regards to the attire for Fuka, though, attire I felt was very what's the word? Fan service, maybe just a little.
You dirty old man.
No,
I went with kawaii. Yeah.
Close enough.
Whatever.
It was very cool. If anything, did you get a bit of Boken Yellow style when she sometimes, as an Easter egg, like that?
I could see that, but no, again, because Boken Yellow was a different thing for me. Anyway, but going on to Momo Ninja, I mean, I kind of like the whole she was the intelligent one. I kind of like how they played that.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure, like, the rest of her personality. It's like, I think there was a couple of episodes where they showed her insecure side, like being the perfectionist.
Yeah.
I thought that was well played. But
do you think there's a bit of Boken Pink mixed with Geki Yellow, that kind of rivalry leadership with the intelligence of Boken Pink?
Not Geki Yellow. Kind of like the actual, white ninja from Kaku Ranger.
What, Tsuruhime?
Yeah, Tsuruhime, yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I did get, because she kind of came across really strong-minded, like Tsuruhime. And again, attire-wise, actually, her and Blue were, they were both very smart.
Fair enough. Then, alright. Well, me attire-wise, hang on. So attire-wise for me, for Momo Ninja is just, alright. Yeah, very smart casual though. She tends to wear a lot of shirts though. I noticed.
You're thinking of a coat. She generally wore a coat a lot.
No, but it's under that though there was a shirt.
No, I think it was a jumper.
But still, look at us professionals. And now
let's get on to Star Ninja now. Right.
Yes.
So Star Ninja, he was just hilarious.
Right.
I don't know. The writers must have been smoking pot or something. Like just the theme of Star Ninja, just his background. It's like none of it made any sense. I mean, for a good portion of Ninja, he was taking selfies with the yokai. They really must have thought, oh, how can we make Sentai hip this year? And they had to throw that in. Brilliant. And again, it just none of it made sense. It's like, what decade is he from? Because they don't do cowboys in this day and age. Yet he was a selfie obsessed yokai hunter. I mean, when they did get serious with him, they did really well with him. Like the storyline with him and Kuremon. And they did a lot with him eventually, and like the attire was just batshit crazy. I don't know what they were thinking.
Okay, so starting off with his attire, because I'm going to start with that. I loved his attire, so this time I can actually say it right. That his attire was actually, I think it was most likely deliberately standing out. Waha, kind of thing, and like
Well,
scene
no,
stealer, whatever.
because he went, unlike sort of the very reserved Yakun, he was still being Western, but it was nowhere near his form. I mean, he had the waistcoat, but that was in a different. It was in a different context to say the way that Yakun dress.
But not just that, but also his characteristics was very, very flamboyant, and I think, and I think it's, I think he is that missing piece that what the group needs just to add that extra flair, if you will.
That's kind of what the finale hinted at, especially like with the whole Kurimon comparison. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, go
on. Okay, let's roll on. All right, we've already discussed how we felt about the ninja thing.
Right.
I mean, the moral of the story was pretty. Because again, at first they were all against the. And again,
what
I think
moral?
Well, no, because at the end of the day, it was about them working together as a group. Like. You look at how they were fighting separate in the penultimate episode, and then they come together. It was about them working as a team. As long as the 6 of them are together, everything will work out. That was the big moral of the story.
So, like a very united, we stand.
It is
united.
It's very cliche. It is very cliche, and I kind of felt they shat over the whole premise of them competing against each other. I mean. Probably me watching it as an adult, that would have made a much better story. And but this is the thing, because I know this is a kids show, so I'm like, I knew they were gonna cop out of this storyline. Even watching it in the first half, I'm like, I bet they all end up being the last ninja. I knew it. That was what I was thinking. I'm like, they're all probably gonna be the last ninja. And lo and behold, it wasn't quite that way. It was more a case of they're all a new type of last ninja, and
we'll get to that. But seriously, that was just ugh.
So I think we've pretty much said in the very beginning what we felt of the suits. But what did you think of the Lion Hao upgrade?
Ooh, right.
The
Chozetsu. Right, just before that, let me just give my input on the actual suits themselves in general. And
okay, I mean, I've already given mine.
Yeah, I didn't mind the suits in general. I thought they were unique. At the same time, I thought they were... alright. I, however, did not give a crap for the helmets. As you rightly said, the 4. What do you call it? 4
point. It's a 4
point shuriken.
Only some of them would. I think they were all meant to be types of shuriken.
Yeah, they are.
Frankly, the red one looked like Aka Ninja's one looked like a crucifix, like a traditional crucifix.
But even still, though, I mean. The only one that, thankfully, Star Ninja had something different going on with him as well, which I thought was interesting.
To be fair, he came up with his own power.
Agreed. True.
Which was based on a burger.
We'll get to that. But even still, right, now, when it gets to the upgrade, when they meet the old drunken geezer for the Lion Harrow spirit, what's it? Aka Ninja gets... an upgrade called Chozetsu. Excuse me. And it actually doesn't look bad. I mean, it's actually him armored up. And when I say armored up, this is really armored up. And the last time I've seen any armored up so well done is probably since Go Busters, I think. And that's me saying something.
Yeah, that is.
Shut up.
But I thought it was a bit bog standard. I mean, we forgot to talk about villains. We can look back around to it.
Yeah, well, look.
When you look at the but the thing about Chozetsu is you look at the henchmen. I kind of felt that they just took that kind of look and just made it a bit, maybe like a touch edgier. So I still felt they were cheating.
On what?
Just the fact that it looks very similar to the henchmen. I mean,
Right.
obviously they twerked it, they or tweaked it. They tweaked it. They made it look again. They made it look a bit edgier, but it still felt like the henchmen look, just a little edgier. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. And you know, and it was really lazy that if one of the other coloured rangers would wear it, it was still red. I'm like, come on, you
Yeah.
could have at least spray painted it. Jesus, you know.
I mean, the only difference when blue or yellow, the difference was when
I
they
think
wore
Pink
the.
only wore it like
No,
briefly.
no,
Pink,
she did. No, she never.
no, I remember there was a scene where it kind of went on and went off, didn't it?
That's the thing, right? I'll get to that in a minute. But the difference between blue and
I think Star Ninja
yellow.
wore it as well.
No. Hang on a minute. One, blue and yellow, they get only the Ninja logo in their own color as a differentiation. The armor as a whole, as a concept,
Still
will still
red.
remain the same. Yes, which
Still
I thought
red.
was
That's what I
lazy.
just said.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just said that. Yeah.
right. Now, however, this was a very interesting thing. That Star Ninja was the first one to actually use it after Red, which I thought was very, very unique. I thought with
Yeah.
his gold color worked really well with the red armor. That it. No, this is my opinion.
Still lazy.
No, true. But here's the thing, though. Our ninja, his blue suit clashed a lot with that red. Same with the
Yes.
yellow. It clashed way too much. That's why I think
They only
Star
did it a couple
Ninja.
of times.
That's why I think Star Ninja worked really well. But now this is where the but comes in. Oh wait, before I get to Super Star Ninja, now Momo Ninja gets an offer from the
Lionheart.
yes, but she refuses.
Oh.
Yeah. Now with Fuka though, Fuka actually gets forced into wearing the bracelet, but as in Civi when she's not in Henshin, and she gets an entire the whole Chozet's armor on her human self, which I thought was hilarious, but it was a
There
joke
was a
thing.
lot of humour in this series.
But it was merely a joke thing, not serious. So only the guys unfortunately
So, Super
got.
Star Ninja.
No,
This
just
was
don't go.
peak. It was
This
just there.
this was
At the end
probably
of the
the
day,
worst.
at the end of the day, if they'd overdone it, we'd have been complaining about it being overdone. But the
Right.
fact that it was literally just a curtain, I'm like, really, was there any point?
See, this is the thing. It's merely a poncho.
They
It
really
is-
should. They shouldn't have even bothered giving him a super form. I mean, the super sword kind of made sense in the story,
Yeah, but I mean,
and it was quite cool bringing that super sword. And we'll talk about the weapons in a bit. And there was a lot of weapons.
See, this
but
is the thing. Right, Super Sword is one thing, but his his
super-
poncho, his Super Star Ninja thing, was so lazy that I'm gonna drop it way down there as crap as Gosage's Super.
Okay. Let's think. I think that's most of that. I mean,
Villains!
before we cover the mecha, we will loop back around to the villains.
Yeah.
Right. So
Right,
I'm gonna
this-
say I
Right.
liked the commander's looks. I kind of thought Kuremon. I'm like, all right, is it a cat? And there was this big question mark about the gender, because even the Horn started subbing it as female, but it's male. But even though obviously it's established in the story, it's a male, but voiced by a female. And I picked that up from Ep One. It's like, I just assumed female because it's a female voice in it. But obviously, it's very common in anime for a female to voice a young boy. So, the fact is, I mean, they do this whole backstory of when Kuremon was a boy. So if they, that's fair enough. But the fact is, you see Takaharu's father being a man, so you assume that Kuremon would be a man, so he should have a man's voice. And so, but I kind of felt a bit weird about that. But I did like the other commander, I forget his name, he became like a massive rival with Aka Ninja.
Right, Gabi
they had,
Rizal. Let's start with Gabi Rizal then, who you're referring to, the swords freak.
Swordsman, yeah.
Yeah, I actually didn't mind Gabi Rizal. I like that whole, as you mentioned, rivalry as well. The power lust, if you will. I thought it was a good character as well, and I'm
Not
actually
so much the
glad.
Palos, but I liked the whole rivalry with Red, and then they killed him off really early, which really bummed me out.
Agreed, but then I'm glad that they brought him back, even if it
Even
was for
though,
a
but when
couple.
they brought him back, I felt it was half-assed.
True. Then you had this. I don't
Then
know,
you had the.
almost like a chief of staff, like kind
Are you
of.
talking about the guy with the funny face?
Well, the one with the big chin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the green one that looks like the equivalent of Mamie.
I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you know, I like the arrogant personality, but the look just really threw me.
True.
And then you had the wife of.
Oh, don't go there! Don't go there.
No, I thought that was quite an interesting spin, and then I kind of felt sorry for her that, Kuramon ended up being sort of the bastard child, and it's like, oh, her husband had a concubine. I really felt sorry for her. And then she had the son, Mangetsu, which was, it was funny, that it was serious, that it was psychotic. Then again, it became sad. Hence the re-uprise of Kiba Mangetsu. But Mangetsu again was a very psychotic design. Just like
I love Mangetsu. I loved Mangetsu.
And they did well with him. I just felt they could have done more with him.
Agreed. Right, for me.
Now, what do you think of the main general, though?
Wait. For QMon, if we haven't talked about QMon yet, I haven't. So I actually liked QMon. I liked its that shadowy, deceptive, almost like an enter sort of thing. Deceptive in the dark kind of thing. And the wife, hit and miss for me. Touch and go. For Kibani Gengetsu, though, I thought it was a real swing and a miss. I loved how he looked, but
yeah, he looked amazing.
But he looked amazing. But I felt that they went in this half-assed, though. Like, they could have done so much more.
They could have done more, but I felt at the end of the day he was an end-of-series villain. They only do this once every so often. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. They do it more often than not. But, it would have been interesting if he was there from the get-go.
Yeah.
But he wasn't.
Like, say, I don't know, Chaos from Kyoryuger, for instance.
I thought it was weird that they brought him back in the clip show episode, though. That was bizarre. Because, normally clip shows are mundane fillers, but they made the clip show sort of, vital to the plot. It's weird. But you already said you didn't like the Monsters of the Week. I kind of thought there was some intelligence behind the Monsters of the Week, but it still felt like it was silly villains doing stupid shit, in my opinion.
The only ones that actually had any relevance or reference, if you will.
There was the Tiger Watch thing.
Whoopee, just going back in time, yeah. The Tiger Cat thing. Sorry, the Cat Watch or whatever. But the only other ones I felt were irrelevant were the ones connected to Star Ninja's backstory, which was the Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman.
Yeah, they were. I liked them. They were commanders in their own right.
Yeah.
Because one of them, I think they were from Transylvania or something.
Yeah.
So the henchmen, let's talk about the henchmen quickly. I mean, again, I actually liked their look for the series. It was a bit busy, it was a very busy look, but...
At least they were uniformed. They were really, like, soldier. Yeah. They looked proper soldier. They looked properly uniformed, if you will. And the ones that were more elite, you can tell where they had the white, almost like a robe on. Like something out of what's his name? Shinken Red's upgrade when he wears the white robe.
I see.
Yeah, and you can tell, and they even fight better. You can tell, as well. So they actually did a fair role as henchmen as well. So I actually didn't mind that.
Let's talk about mecha.
Right.
Now. There's a lot.
There's a lot going on in this.
Right, I'm gonna try to do one line on each.
Right. Do you want to?
Yeah.
You breeze this.
I'll do all of them.
You breeze it. Yeah. You breeze it, and then you can tell me.
Shinobi Maru, I like the look, and especially like when you had the Rodeo Maru, who also was the same but in a different color, and then he had like a little horse thing, which I thought was a bit waste. You then had Dragon Maru, which I thought looked really cool. What did the yellow one have?
A dump truck.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know, that kind of went over my head. I thought it was a bit weird, Momo Ninja having a train, but, what was the point in Shura Ninja having a dog? Or was it, Wanmaru or something? And then, I don't know, they kind of really, once the Gekiatsu mecha came in, the armaments became almost irrelevant, because you had Surf Maru, which was barely in it. I mean, UFO Maru had quite a pivotal storyline. And then, didn't they have, Power Maru, which was an elephant? Again, barely, featured a few times in the first half, then just disappeared. Then you got Lion Hao. That was just, again, they must have, the toy for that must have sold like a billion yen. And that was a bit of a waste. But this is it, the Geki Ats, which was a very decent 6-part mecha. It looked great. It looked great as a Gatai, but I don't know what the 6 individual parts were. I mean, because Shuriken Jin looked really busy, it looked very royal, there was a lot of gold going on. And it did kind of have the Go-Kaio look to it. But, I don't know, I'm just feeling it was a little too busy, Shuriken Jin. But yeah, that's me having summarised everything in a nutshell.
Right.
And there was the Drive mecha from the Tyson film, but I don't even know what that is.
Right. Let me try and smash this seriously, because individually the first 5 mechs. So yeah, Shinobi, I didn't mind that. The Doragomaru, I actually liked that. It was nice, a blue dragon, nice and refreshing. Yellow dump truck, couldn't give a crap. The white dog was a complete and utter waste, and the pink train was meh.
It was brave that they went for different themes for mecha, because that was the Sentai first. But
there was no consistency.
It just felt irrelevant.
Agreed.
I mean, consistency is neither here nor there, but
no. I mean, that's the point. There, like you just said, that it was deliberate that they did not have a fitting theme, effectively. But when it came to the whole Shuriken, I actually didn't mind it. The fact that for once we actually see a Zord controlling the Megazord, which I actually didn't mind. I thought that was rather ballsy. Then you have
it just looked too busy for me.
And then you have the armaments as well. You have UFO Maru, you get Power Maru, as you mentioned. And so basically you change they have a giant shuriken on the head as the crest for the face, which sits down in a new crest form. Same for, that's when you get the UFO Maru, Power Maru, Surf Maru, you get different faces as well. And different weapons. Unfortunately not armaments, but weapons. So what happens is they just sit down, swap around with Shinobi Maru, and they take the controls as well, Shuriken, which I thought was rather interesting. And then weapons for them, triple barrel gun, pair of axe from Power Maru, and then surf board from Surf, which I thought was unique as hell. They're funny.
I still felt it was pointless though.
But I thought it was funny though, as a humorous thing. And then now the movie exclusive one, which was Dino Maru, which I thought... I actually
Yeah,
didn't
I
mind
remember
it.
this.
It's basically, from a franchise perspective, is a recolor, slight remold of Palmaru, in that it's a it's an orange dinosaur.
I'll talk about the
Yeah,
movie at
fine.
the
But
end.
in short, you get a huge Easter egg in that you get a drill tail thing, hinted from
Oh,
Aberrant.
I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah,
See,
yeah,
I actually
yeah,
saw the movie. Yeah, I remember
yeah.
that. So,
Hang on.
what do we think?
One second. One
Of,
second. One
are
second.
we
One second.
still on Mecha? Go on.
Sorry.
Oh,
Now, with Star Ninja, when he comes in, he gets something called Radio Mo, which is the baby blue form of Shinobi Mo. And it also comes in riding a bison buggy. And
that's what
and then it can just transform on its own into something called a Bison King. I actually like the look of that.
And Bison King did have armaments, which again I just didn't.
No, it didn't.
Did not.
No.
Did it not like use armaments or bits of the other mecha?
It could, I guess. It can.
Like I think he went into Lion Harrow as well, didn't he? Though.
Right. This is where it gets weird because no.
I'm sure
there was one episode where we saw Doragomaru actually connecting to Bison King.
Right, fine, okay.
Other than
that's what I meant. Yeah,
other than that, there was it. Now, this is where it got really busy for me when Shurikenjin and Bison Buggy combined to make King Shurikenjin, and it looked absolutely crap for me. It just looked like a huge...
I'm trying to remember, I actually don't remember.
Just don't. It was absolutely tall and crap for me, honestly. But when Lion Howard came in, I thought this was a different. This is where it cut the whole viewers' opinions in two different directions. For me, I actually didn't mind it, in that Lion Harrow was this tank castle with a lion face on it, and that it can just transform itself into one hell of a sized mech. But then, when it goes for its ultimate form, it transforms itself into an open chair, where Shurikenjin sits in there. And I'm like, so you got a mech within a super mech within a super mech.
I remember.
I actually didn't mind it as a uniqueness. I actually like that. Just tapping on Gekiatsu Daio, which is the final mechs, I couldn't give two craps about it. I'm sorry.
No, I like the Gatai.
No, I didn't. That's the problem.
Oh,
I didn't. Because you had...
it had like it had like a fiery look.
The theme was fired.
They literally had...
They were... They were
literally stuck, solid flames on the side.
Yep.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
the whole gimmick was the fact that they were really all fiery, excited, enthusiastic kind of heat kind of thing. And
no, because it's them having their own power, don't forget.
I mean, the whole purpose... I mean, even the animals was like you had a panda, you had a phoenix, a dragon. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The phoenix, a panda, a dragon, and then you had
another dragon. Are you sure?
Yeah, blue, unfortunately. And then
really?
and then you had, what did Star have? I don't remember. Oh, one of them had a fish.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and I can't remember what Pink had. Yeah. Anyway, my point is I couldn't give a crap as an overall kind of thing. And what's more, that thing can actually sit into Lion Howl as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I'm like, honestly, the whole mech system for me this season, I mean, other than Gekiatsu Daio, I actually didn't mind it for the whole uniqueness of it, the whole sit in the chair kind of thing gimmick. I actually didn't mind that. I thought it was nice and unique.
Okay, so what do we think of the weapons and henshin device?
Right.
I'll let you lead.
Right, starting with the henshin device, I didn't mind it. I thought it was nice and different in that it was...
Well, because the henshin device was the weapon, so
yeah.
At least for once it's not... I mean, you kind of think, oh, well, they're not being too merch heavy. Then you get whatever the hell that burger phone was. And then you get the... I know I said you'll start this, but
Now you
Yeah,
might
and
as well
then you
go.
get, and then, and then you get, you then get the same henshin sword, but in red. It's like, alright, waste man.
Now, this is where I just got a similarity, I just realised. The henshin device is that of their main sword that they use in combat and such, and they merely put a shuriken into the actual, between the handle and the blade, pretty much where the hilt is. And now, the concept feels very...
Shinkenja. I knew you was going to say Shinkenja. Yeah, I agree. Well,
except
that's what
rather
I
than
think.
going like that way,
They do that.
yeah, it was very...
But at least, and this is quite because you've got to know your Japanese culture really well. I've forgotten the name of it in English, but what in Shinkenja, what they had, I think they called it a reel. That cover bit actually, they have during the samurai era, they had different ranks of samurai having different covers, and so that had massive symbolism in Japan. And again, they kind of tried to, sort of pay homage to that in Shinkenja, whereas, Shinkenja wasn't quite like that. I mean, they shaped their individual shurikens as,
You mean
each to
ninja?
their own. But then, there's no sort of Japanese culture associated with them putting a shuriken on top of a sword. Well, as far as I'm aware, I'm not saying I'm an expert, but there you go.
But other than that, yeah, so the other weapon they had, which thankfully they didn't have any combined weapon or whatever, thank flipping hell.
I wouldn't have minded if they did, but
It depends on
they
the
did
execution,
it well. They did it well. They
But,
did it well.
right.
They did do it all, which is fair enough.
Right.
But I would have
Let me start with this interesting item that they had, and it's a giant ninja star, a four piece ninja star that had multiple usage.
I'm trying. I don't know if I'm making it up in my head now.
Sorry, it's a 4-point, as you call it, a 4-point ninja star, which can point out two blades to make like a claw, can also point in one direction to make like a sword, and also make the 2 points out further to make it into a bow, which I thought was ridiculous.
I
Now,
don't remember. Oh,
anyway, I felt that whole concept, just the big 4-point star alone, was it paid an homage to Ninja Red. For me, anyways. Now, when it got to the ranged weapon, this is where it got absolutely atrocious for me, because it was a bright, vibrant blue and gold gun with a frog.
Oh, the Caro thing. Yeah.
The frog gun. Yeah. It was so...
I thought it was pointless.
It was...
I mean, it had a functioning sensing yokai.
It's a gun that can sense the evil. It's a frog gun that can sense the evil. Please, can someone explain the logic on that?
Well,
exactly.
This was an insane series. I think it took a lot of homage from Kakuranger, to be fair.
It just...
because I was watching Kakuranger during this year as well, so insanity all around, I guess.
Other than that... Hang on,
let's talk about Star Ninja's weapons.
Right.
He had a burger phone, which, again, I think everyone, whether you liked or hated this series, everyone was like, what the fuck, a burger phone? And then he had a red sword, which is like neither here nor there. But then you had his guitar, which was clearly like a Shurikenja homage, in my opinion.
Which one?
Oh wait, no, he had a baseball bat, didn't he?
He had a baseball bat. With a microphone on the end.
No, but I'm sure there was another ranger in the past.
He did. He had a shamisen though.
Oh yeah.
What are you on about? Anyway, no, the thing is right. Star Ninjas, to start off with the burger phone. With the burger phone, I actually didn't mind the burger phone as something different. Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous, but took it, took a bit of liking, and I did. Then
Just how he used it as a camera phone was the unique bit compared to any Henshin cellular phone.
Anywho, and then what's it? You have Star Ninja's main weapon, which is the guitar gun, guitar sword gun thing, which is effectively this star-shaped electric guitar with a gun barrel on the end of it. And I'm like, what the fuck?
No.
And then afterwards, when he goes into Superstar Ninja, he gets this red version of the Ninja Ichibanto, which is the main sword.
That's what it was called.
So so the red version of that, and it is good. That is a very good piece of item there as well. And I apart from
that's it, isn't it?
Apart from the Lion How Chosetsu bracelet, which it doesn't really do much, but it's a bracelet. Besides talking like a drunken man.
Oh no, that was funny. I mean, we actually didn't cover support characters. I think we'll do that in just a sec.
What's more, I actually didn't. Normally, I don't comment on this, but the sounds in regards to the finishing move actually made the moves better in that it built up. So, like for instance, like N-I, 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 and then they just.
I'm sure you didn't like that during the run.
No, at the beginning, but then later on it does grow on you, unfortunately. But then no,
yeah,
not that. Just no, I'll stick with the N-I.
Right. Alright, so let's talk about support characters, which we forgot to do earlier. I'll roll this.
Oh no.
You had the granddad, the last ninja. He was so eccentric. He was so insane. He was talking in riddles. But
don't forget the way
when the final revelation of his true story came about, again in the penultimate episode, a part of me died, man. I was just like, oh my gosh, there were so many feels in that. Again, I said in the Toku Talk that, I felt that it was the best. Ninja is the best penultimate episode ever, and just the granddad storyline played a big part of that. And talking about his son, who's Takaharu and Fuka's father. I really did like his character. He was so understated, just like Key Ninja. But then when it developed, when the whole thing about his childhood with Kureimon, that just again there was actually quite again when there were filler episodes of this series, it was goddamn awful. But when they did like plot-driven stuff, and flashback stuff, there was just so many feels, and I felt for his story. I really did, and I honestly felt they didn't do it justice when he did eventually get his nintality back. I felt that they could have done so much more to do that justice. I mean, other support characters. I mean, you had Yakun's mother briefly appear. They could have done. I think one thing that Takenoko from TV Nihon said was about how they didn't really play up the whole family connection things, and then literally Yakun's mother was about it. So I kind of really agree with that, because it would have been quite interesting to have seen Momo Ninja's parentage or something. But so like now coming on, so I'm sort of linking this into talking about key episodes. It's when you then see Red Ninja, Hurricane Ninja, that other one from that other obscure Metal Hero series.
Jiraiya,
yeah. And I think you had Shuriken appear in that really nuts clip episode. I criticised this all year. They could have done so much more having these characters featuring this series. And they had Magic Yellow in it as well. And I really felt they could have done something a lot better with that. But these are key episodes that are remembered simply because these characters make an appearance. It was literally a sort of a platonic fan service. It was a platonic fan service. It's insane. They could have done so much more, but they just wanted to play on the novelty in itself. But story wise, all right, they gave out some new shurikens. That's about it. They could have done it so much better.
In regards to my opinion for the supporting cast, I'm gonna skim this one because the father for Takaharu and Fuka he was. I foresaw him as a mentor to everyone, and yes, you did see that also father looking after his children as well, which yeah,
I felt he did a good. I really
he did, and I'm gonna sound like a dick, but I wish he didn't get his ninja power back, just because I liked him that vulnerability to himself as well.
I felt it did make a difference. So like I'll agree with you on that, but just on a different perspective, that it would have made a difference if he didn't, because when he did, it's like all right, he became Aka Ninja with the silver sash.
But didn't you see he got just that little bit cockier though? But then he tends to...
No, not really.
Alright.
No, again, because there wasn't that many episodes after he got his mentality back, to be fair.
Now, with the grandfather, I loved his character though. That he's the effect almost like the Joker of the whole crew.
I felt he was also the glue. I felt he was the glue of the characters, ironically.
And then after each conversation, he would just turn to them and go, "Ciao!"
I loved him.
And even the way that he speaks to them in some either
riddle or
balloon,
just a
balloon,
or saying they were rubbish. That was insane. Oh, and he would appear, like you say, he would appear in strange ways, but it's explained right at the end. It's just like the feels, man.
Yeah. And then I'm not going to mention about his story yet, but other than that, who else? Oh yeah, so I felt that the Kakuranger and the Hurricaneger duo, when they came in, I thought that was brilliant. That was a fantastic episode. I wish they had more of them in it. Nope. And then you had
no, not necessarily more, but they could have just done something better.
And then you had Shuriken, which was an absolutely wasted episode, which I'm sure yeah. And then you had Jiraiya episode, which again they could have done more. But
I'll be honest, I didn't really associate with it because I don't know. I mean, I've seen a couple of Ultraman series. I've seen obviously Toho Seishin now, but I've apart from watching a bit of VR Troopers and Beetleborgs, I've actually no knowledge of Metal Heroes. I mean, I did not like I can't remember his damn name. Gavan. I didn't even like the Gavan reboot film. It was awful. So
see, here's the thing though. With Gokaiger though, bringing back the original Gavan, I think it worked. That worked.
That was a really good film.
Not just film, though. Not just the film.
On its own with the next gen was just goddamn awful. So yeah, so again, coming back to the point, I just didn't associate with Jiraiya at all. It's like, they kept saying, "Oh, he was from 1983," so I don't care.
But not just that. I think it's because it's a ninja. Okay, let's bring him back.
Whereas I feel that the one thing that I will say is if that was how I felt about Jiraiya, I wonder how the Japanese kids today who do watch Sentai must have felt about Hurricane Red and Red Ninja. Did they care about them?
You mean Ninja Red?
I just felt they could have done more with it. And again, when we talked in Toku Talk about Magi Yellow's appearance, we conflicted on that. I just felt
right. Saying that, thank you for reminding me.
Because again, this is a key episode.
This is in that we find out who our ninja's teacher is, his actual magical teacher is, and that is Magi Yellow, the actual Magi Yellow, the same actor who comes and plays a cameo of reprising his role as Magi Yellow, Tsubasa, Orca Tsubasa as well, which I thought was fantastic and bloody clever as well. And
again, I just felt like I could have done better with that.
agree. That's the point. That they could have brought him back. They could have brought all those cameos back on the either penultimate or the final episode to take down Kibane Gengetsu. At least to help out.
That'd have been cheap. But
Sorry.
at the end of the day, we're not. We'll talk about the finale at the end. Right. I will talk about film.
The what?
The film.
Oh no.
The Ninja film.
Alright. Well, you know we haven't tapped on the story yet, though.
We've been talking about the story the whole time.
Not really.
Anyway, so the Ninja film, it was boring as hell. I remember talking about this in Toku Talk a few weeks back, a couple months back. It was boring as hell, and, I kind of, if the only sort of redeeming part of its story was how they kind of had the Dino Maru ruler guy as sort of deadbeat, and he'd given up on life, and then the moral of the story is, oh no, don't give up on life, and then it's like, oh, to defeat the dinosaur thing you got to knock its horn off or some shit. That's nothing original there. It was very uninspired. I didn't even know what I was watching. I'm just like, this could be anything else. I just I mean, it had, and this is going out on a limb here, the feel of the film actually felt like the very first Deno film, but that was done really well. It had like similar looking sets to the Deno film, which again had that sort of, past look vibe going on. But at least Deno was travelling through time, so it made sense. This just made no sense.
Right. So in regards to the story, this is where I'm going to literally skim through it, and that for the first half, there was almost next to nothing until you get the special cameos in, which unfortunately I had to be reminded.
No,
but then
this is where I disagree with you, because again, I already talked about the first half story.
No, and it was pretty much like a snoozeville for me, and then it's like, oh look, there's the cameo. Oh, okay, down, da 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 da. Oh look, there's a good cameo again. Oh, alright.
Bearing in mind that the first cameos were in episode 7.
Yeah, and then once you hit the second half, maybe the third quarter or whatever, that's when things finally get interesting. And then the penultimate episode was like, oh my goodness, am I actually watching Sentai or an actual...
Actual what?
What, an actual...
wow, you're so descriptive.
Disaster TV series or something.
I don't know what you're talking about, but no, I really did like the penultimate episode. And again, I'll talk about the second. Well, I've already talked about the first half. I'll talk about the second half in a bit. But let's go over the aesthetics as we do. Firstly, and we all know I love this, the music of Ninja. See, BGM really wasn't there, to be fair. The OP was just batshit crazy, and this is it. And in contrast to Kyoryuja, I really like this ending. Like, it's sort of childish and that, but it worked.
Right. I mean, okay. So let me just quickly say the ending I couldn't give two craps about, and then I'm sorry. I gave it a crack. Even on the ending, I actually watched the ending in the finale.
I really love that ending.
No, I don't.
Man.
Now the opening.
That was my ringtone for a while as well. But
my sympathy goes out to your phone. Now the opening, however, though, that's a different story because I actually didn't mind that. I can actually tolerate that. It was actually not bad.
What I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'm feeling a bit sort of mixed about it, but basically because like Go Busters had 2 opening themes that were both very modern. And so were the Sentai, like the last 5 Sentais before it. In fact, even probably the last 10.
Ninja didn't have a second opening.
But from Kyoryuja onwards, they seem to be like really gunning for that sort of vintage sound.
Yeah, I get what you're coming from.
Like Kyoryuja, they tried to mix in, I don't know, some sort of Spanishy thing. But even in the OP, it wasn't too evident. But it kind of had that vintage sound. I mean, Tokuja, I'm trying to remember what Takuja's OP was. You know, it was like a bit sort of indie vibe, but then you come to this one, Ninja. It really sounds like it's a Sentai from the 70s.
I can actually relate that. That is actually true, with a bit of shamisen in there as well.
I don't know what that is.
You know, the strumming instrument.
Oh.
Um,
So what did we... Now, this is going to be a big talking point. Choreography.
oh, just before that, the BGM, I didn't find any noticeable ones. So, choreography.
Back around to that. Alright, choreography, let's do this.
I'm gonna do a backwards on this, in that the finishing moves, some of them weren't bad. Now, the generic choreography, I honestly, I don't know. I have no reservation for it, in that nor good nor bad. It's like meh. Like, thankfully, there wasn't as much wireworks as I feared.
Okay.
Saying that there were, but no, as in no ridiculously obvious ones. The sword fight felt very fair choreographed, which I actually didn't mind, thankfully. So it wasn't all street fight or do it yourself or whatever kind of thing. It wasn't half bad. That's the thing.
You see, I'll sort of take a bit of role here. I will say, like, choreography, I liked how it was all very character orientated, which...
Explain.
You know, like, yeah, you
mean
could
they
see
fight
it
to
was Fuka, like, sort of being girly when she fought. You kind of saw how Takaharu sort of went in head first. You kind of saw our ninja was sort of like more methodical in his
that's
fighting,
more cliche
as well as
though.
the magical stuff. But no, I wouldn't call it cliche though. I mean, you know, I think it added, you know, for a lot of it played to its comical aspects a lot. But, you know, so I wouldn't say it was like spectacular choreography. And, you know, you kind of think, alright, for a type of fighting style series that is ninjutsu, you'd expect it. But, you know, at the end of the day, I watched, you know, like Kakarange, I felt very mixed. Hurricane Angel, poor choreography. But, you know, at least Ninja, you know, there was a bit of effort in there.
See, this is the thing.
At the same time, when you look at things like the penultimate battle in that, or actually even the final battle, considering I only watched that this morning, it was very CGI heavy. Like, the climatic battles were very CGI heavy.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, though. When they fought, I felt like it was a slightly lesser version of Gokaiger, where they would fight as their character, if that makes sense. Sort of like, rather than... how can I say, sort of like the dominant style would go in gun-ho kind of thing, or like the peppy one would sort of like go in with two hands and like just try and beat up someone as though their sword was a stick kind of thing. So I got a bit of that from your wording as well. Otherwise, again, the ending, unfortunately, like you mentioned, was spoilt through the CGI.
I mean, there was the ending, which I think was kind of understandable, but things like the penultimate battle with the grandfather, I'm just kind of like, oh, well. You know, I mean, I wasn't exactly boo-hoo about it. But
I'll tell you, this is where I got...
I was just commenting on
this is where I got very mixed opinions on, was when they actually used, and this comes under choreography for me anyway, is when they used the whole Shuriken ninjutsu as well. It's like they come up with all these strange abilities and then they go boom, okay, and I'm like, okay, where the fuck did this come from? I mean, some of them would make sense, like the duplication, for instance, or the whole just casting fire or water, whatever, but then when it gets to like casting gold, you're just dropping a foot spa on top of someone's head effectively, or a bucket, a metal bucket on top of someone's head, and I'm like, What the hell? Seriously? So it it's sometimes touch and go for me with that kind of a thing, and I think when it came to Shinkenger, when they did their just their elements, they kept it really simple, and I loved that they literally did just their element, cast it, done, and if anything, maybe just summon the mechs. That's it, done. Whereas with this, they would just use 50 million different things. They should have contained it just a little bit more. I think they were a bit too flamboyant with it.
But like when you talk of like go back to like mate, you started off by trying to talk about their fishing attacks. I mean, one thing we never really talk about when we do Sentai reviews is things like their roll call. I mean, I really like their flashy roll call, but then they kind of implement elements from their roll call into some of their Hisatsu attacks, and I think that's quite clever as well. So I'm not too fussed about those million elements that you mentioned. And like when it came to say Star Ninja, it kind of goes with his flamboyant character as well. And then he has this extra responsibility of, always trying to avenge his father, but then the grandfather teaches him, you shouldn't be in this for revenge. And then he's got this conflicting thing with Kureimon, which he then turns around against Kureimon at the end. Yeah, so that's probably talking more about story, really, but he kind of implemented that into the choreography a fair bit. Choreographers, it's good stuff. So let's talk about, like, again, wrapping this up. How did we feel about the final arcs?
Right, when it got to Star Ninja and being effectively poisoned, if you will, with the dark energy, I thought that was very
dark.
That was a good.
I mean, a lot of people have criticised the series to be a bit too childish or a bit flamboyant.
No, but I think when that came in,
they had some good moments, and that was one of them.
Like when the whole Dracula, Frankenstein, and Wolfman came in. I think
it was mainly the Wolf one.
It was mainly the Wolfman because it was the Wolfman. Spoiler alert, guys! It was the Wolfman himself that killed Kinji's father and brother. So this was a very personal...
You had to spoil it for people. I just mentioned the fact that it was mainly the Wolf, but never mind. Alright, carry on.
Anyway, I did say spoiler alert. But anyway, so it was a very dark point where at some point Kinji does come obsessed and possessed with a bit of dark energy as well. And how that the whole process takes through him, I found was a very, very good part of the story. Now, unfortunately for me, nothing really got my attention until near towards the third quarter, where you get more development on Kuremon's side of things as well, particularly in the last 5 episodes, where you see what happens with Manget's. How his passing comes, what the hell happens to the wife as well, which I thought was absolutely balmy. Otherwise, that aside, and then yeah, there's a lot going. Pretty much almost the last 5 episodes, there's a lot going, and it actually keeps you interested as well for once. But if that kind of sums it up without the lesser of the spoilers.
Sure, man. Well, okay, I'll literally wrap it up by saying, I felt that the second half was all about leading up to the penultimate episode. I mean, It was just strange. I've already mentioned how strange it was that the clip show was quite pivotal, because it normally isn't. Normally no one cares. And
what do you mean by clip show?
It was a clip show. The episode that... Because, don't forget, this is how the episode was. You had Shuriken making his cameo. He had all those cards out, and then they had to pick the cards, and then, it's like, what did you learn from this experience or some shit?
Yeah.
And then just sort of randomly right at the end, Kaboni appears, It's like, that's insane. But I think rolling on, talking about, like just the general, we didn't cover locations. I love the look of the dojo. I mean, where they did their fight scenes was a bit generic. The fact is, the villain's face was so dark, it was like that ship in Shinkenger.
Yeah, agreed.
But at least, that kind of had an ambience, whereas there was no real ambience in the villain's base. It was just like a random room that was dark. But yeah, I really like the dojo. But everything else was pretty generic as far as I can remember.
Yeah, I'll give you that because
I will still say this is it. Like, I will look back on Ninja quite fondly, especially like where I've now completed with watching Kakuranger. Frankly, I didn't like Hurricane, but I did like Kakuranger, and I'll look back at Ninja. I reckon I'll look back on Ninja quite fondly, but having gone through this year, I did feel sort of hits and misses. It's a very mixed series. I mean, a lot of people were put off by this series, whereas I'm going to give it. I'm going to watch it beginning to end, whether I like it or not, simply because I'm a Sentai whore. But it's a very hit and miss series. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it
for first timers
as a first. No. I mean, maybe or no. I mean, if I know someone who might be appreciative of that sort of comedy, childish humour, or just sort of like sometimes it's quite puerile.
Okay, I'm going to divide this then. What about a second, third, or die-hard hardcore fan?
I wouldn't. If anything, a die-hard. I wouldn't recommend this to a die-hard fan at all because they'll probably be like yuck. But like again, first it would depend on whoever I'm talking to's personality, whether I think they'd appreciate that sort of thing. But after what not, if it's not their first Sentai, it could easily be like a second, third, or fourth. But someone who's a Sentai nut, a Sentai hardcore fan who hasn't got around to watching this yet, I'll be like, well, you probably won't like it.
Alright, so for me, just to tap on, I completely agree in regards to what you say about the villain's base, it's pretty much like Shinkenger 2.0. In regards to the dojo, I love it, and you're right. You look like you're falling asleep. Alright. Yeah. Anyway, I love the dojo. I love how it's very homey kind of aspect as well. In regards to my final thoughts or such, in a nutshell, I felt that the whole storyline, it was pretty much inconsistent. It was like very, enjoyable, not enjoyable, enjoyable, not enjoyable, until like the third quarter, if you will. And then, would I recommend this to a first timer? Honestly, I because of the inconsistency, as much as with all the cameos and stuff, I don't really want to recommend this to anyone as much as... that's the problem. I think this was a real hit and miss for me. They spent so much trying to bring so many cameos back in. I feel it's an unfortunate waste, if that kind of sums it up really. That I can't recommend this to any first-timers, second, third-timers, or even Sentai fans. I don't want to recommend it to anyone because this is just going to be a humongous boredom, really, to be honest.
Okay, well, let me round this off by talking about a few bits that we've missed that you probably wouldn't care about anyway, and then sort of the future. Right, so there was actually a special with a crossover with Drive. Now this, again, it was almost a year ago, but it kind of had the quirkiness to it. This was to promote the Tyson film in a sense.
Wasn't that during the summer as well?
It was during the spring because it's always a spring special.
No. Oh, this is the double episode crossover they did in this.
Yeah. And again, it kind of had a similar vibe to the previous ones. Anyway, there was nothing original, and then the Tyson film itself was actually really good.
Wait, the GP?
But again, you don't really get that. Again, it's pretty much just kind of how it was before.
So
they just vaguely appear.
Hi!
Yeah, pretty much. It's pathetic.
So it's all about the riders and then the ninjas just go.
I mean, again, it was more about sort of this comic book Kamen Rider. Anyway, and then there was something else I was going to comment on. Shit. Oh wait, that was it. Yeah, the fact is, there's two films that haven't been released yet. Well, actually, the crossover of Tokuja has just been it's just been released in Japan. We do know bits about it, like the villain's another train guard dude with snakes in his hair or some shit. Looks quite interesting. The fact that there's a dark hacker ninja, blah blah blah. You know, we don't know nothing about it. And then they have announced Ninja Returns. They are bringing a new Ninja into it, which is apparently going to be Takaharu's mother. And because again, if you haven't seen Ninja, the finale hints at this anyway. So that's quite cool. Because bearing in mind that Tokuja made no hints on like having a purple Tokuja, this one does. So it's like, okay, that's nice. And then finally this is probably a really bad way to cap off this review, but we already know that next year's Power, and again, even though I've got no US comparison to do, we do know that this is going to be the next Power Ranger adaptation in Power Rangers Ninja Steel. After Dino Supercharge, which is a series that's just started, which is just a continuation of last year's Dino Charge. We know about Ninja Steel that they're basically making an original villain called Zircoin, I think his name, or Zircon or something. And ironically, you look at the current, the series that's about to start, Jyuohger, and that the Death Galleon are invading Earth so that they can expand their blood game. Well, basically, this Zircon villain that's going to be in Ninja Steel is basically a TV network that's broadcasting its game show across the whole universe, and they've picked planet Earth as their next setting. It's insane. I think it's almost, I don't know whether they knew about the Jyuohger storyline before penning this, but I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of similarities between Jyuohger's villains and Ninja Steel's villains. And that's me wrapping up Ninja. How about you, yeah?
I honestly don't really have anything to add to that. So, that's been our review for this year's Sentai, that being Shuriken Sentai Ninninger. And we hope that next year we should pick up something from Dobutsu Sensei Jyuohger. As always, do like, comment, subscribe from down below and stuff. Whatever, comment about his hair, do whatever, I don't care. Otherwise, I've been Master Rider Bushido, he's been my Toku Bro from the other side of the earth, that being Flayvaman! And as always, join us next time, and as always, Fish for the Cam!
See you next time.